killing people faster. Yeah. You see, they're taking out all you.
Hi, I am Tishanna Williams, and I am a self-made soul. I call myself a creative, a career creative actually. So all my money comes from the arts, and I act, I sing with a great band called Freetown Collective. Hi Freetown Collective, if you don't know them, do something with your life. I sing with a great band called Freetown Collective. I do arts education using art for social change both in Trinidad, in the Caribbean region and internationally. I am a writer. I write for Loop, I've written for different newspapers in Trinidad as well. And I also direct. I just do whatever makes me happy and whatever feeds my spirit and whatever makes me feel like I'm on vacation. I have been in the arts entertainment industry for about 6 years, 5 going on 6 years. A lot of people think it's longer, but I was actually a scientist first. So I did chemistry, physics, biology, and I went to the University of the West Indies and I studied biochemistry, biotechnology. And then, to be very honest, I got bored and something in my spirit just was telling me time to do something else, you know, and nobody really tells you that university is the place for you to make those choices. They kind of make you feel, especially in the Caribbean, that once you start a degree, you have to finish it. And that is what you have to do the rest of your life. I didn't listen to that. So I left the degree that I came into, broke my parents' heart, and decided that I wanted to be an actress. Went to the theatre department where I met Louis McWilliams, Marvin George, Camille Kwame, Royal Gibbons, and a whole set of people that just all they wanted to do was just create art, you know, and merge culture with art and try to find the ways in which we could find ourselves and our Caribbean culture in the contemporary arts, as well as how to validate what we have as art. And I'd never been a part of anything like that. I'd also never been a part of something where your lecturers were your friends, you know. So DCFA, which is the Department of Creative and Festival Arts, kind of became like a drug for me. That's really where everything I do is grounded, because everything I do in life is always about how to get it back, how to find a Caribbean context it, and DCFA gave me that. And that kind of led into everything else, to be very, very honest, because I started to realize that I don't really see a disconnect when it comes to art and when it comes to creating. To me, the work just manifests itself in whatever realm it's asked for. So from the acting, I started writing. I joined Arts in Action, which is the premier art education group in the Caribbean. At the time, just having fun, you know, everything in the beginning was just fun and it wasn't normal work, so it was a rebellious act. But then I guess to live is a rebellious act, so by committing a rebellious act, what I ended up doing was living and finding my life. So I started working with Arts in Action, traveling all over, using art for social change, and realizing that, you know, art and theatre and writing and all these things have grounds to collect stories and to just give them back to people in different ways and to touch them in different ways. And when you really experience that, when you experience doing something that just makes your heart sing and waking up every morning and feeling like you're living in a dream, there's really nothing anybody could tell you to make you want to do anything else. And yeah, so that's what I started to do. I became an actress, I became a journalist, I started doing art education and never looked back. That was it. I continue because I'm happy. I could give 10 million reasons why, you know, which would be valid. You know, you see what art can do, you see what theatre can do, you see what people's stories can do, you see what the written word could do. And then I also came up under people such as Leroy Clark, Into Springer, all these people who I got to sit at tables and listen to some serious giants speak about what it used to be like and, you know, what art did in the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, and to know that that existed and that happened, and then look around and wonder what's going on now. You know, there's nothing to do but continue in that vein. I also continue because I promised myself that I would make money off of this because everybody told me that I wouldn't. And when I first decided that all I wanted to do was perform, because at that time I was just acting, I stayed home broke for 3 months with like no money. And I remember it was a Sunday, I probably had $3 in my pocket. I couldn't even travel to go down the road, and I remember just lying down looking at the roof saying, Father Lord, if you don't send something quick, I gotta go get a job. I really don't want to get a job. And 10 minutes later, there was this phone call from this woman that wanted me to direct a production, and she had been referred to me from Michael Sherry. I will always say Michael Sherry gave me a break there. I think that just the way I started, just the way I grew up with very strong women in my life, and I grew up with a strong Baptist grandmother. You know, I believe in faith, I believe in destiny, and when I look back on how I even got into the arts, there was no real reason for me to reach here. I wasn't surrounded by anybody doing it, but I just started finding myself in places where, you know, people were performing, or I had an ex who had a band and all of a sudden I was singing in that. It's almost as if the purpose found me, and I don't think it's really told me what it is yet. But the way that things continue to go in my life, it just seems, the most I could say about that is I don't know what my purpose is, but I'm pretty sure that whatever it is tied to exactly where I am. This is Tishanna Williams with SelfMade Studios, and you are watching SelfMade Souls Season 2 on GT Network. I'd wicked this time. Hello. To be self-made is to make yourself, you know, is to invent yourself. And not just invent yourself and say that's it, but to reinvent yourself every single time something else comes up that you want to accept. A lot of times people are told that you just have to do what you have to do. School life is something that kind of trains you and prepares you not to go out into the world and live, but to go out into the world and do what is required by the system in which you live in. And I don't think that that is a life worth living. There are people that is the life that they want to live, and there are some that is not it. For me, that wasn't it. So to be a self-made soul is really to make yourself, to figure out what feeds your spirit, to figure out what you want to do, and then to go out and do it. And I have been very blessed to be able to do some amazing things. So I've traveled, I've done shows in Scotland singing with Freetown, which is almost like my family found me and gave me music. You know, you can't, that is what being a self-made soul is. Things come into your space. Just by living, things just come into your space, you know. We got to open shows for Junior Gong. I got to interview Taurus Riley, people like Protege. You know, I was part of the first youth conference on national security ever held in the Eastern Caribbean. You know, I do what I want when I want, and for some reason it's always part of something that touches somebody else's soul. So by making myself, I think, just making yourself, just evolving, just being open to change, you know, that's what a self-made soul is to me. I am Tishanna Williams, and I am self-made.
This is none other than